Hey guys, Nathan Brendan Masters. If you didn't see my last video, Hexcraft Mechanics issue 1 has been shipped. I got it off Friday afternoon, which is good because by Saturday, Chicago was in chaos, as you have seen on the news, along with several other cities. And it's pretty interesting because I was on a live stream with the Breakfast Club, and the city went into lockdown like toward the end of that live stream. So we were talking about this stuff. If you guys are interested in that, I will put a link in the description so you can see that. I don't come in. I'm there at the beginning, but I'm having technical difficulties, so I don't really get back in there until around the last 2 hours or so, last 2.5 hours or so. So you can check that out. But I'm going to talk about something today that's going to be very interesting, and I'm going to be very respectful with this because there are people who actually believe deeply in this one, and this one's a little bit different because some of these things I personally can debunk myself. Others, I don't know. You know how these Mandela effects go. But today we're going to talk about Mandela effects in the Bible. Now, I do want to preference this by saying I do this for fun, okay? These Mandela effects and things like that, I do them because they're interesting and, again, they're fun. So I'm not trying to sway anybody in any way, shape, or form. I'm just going to point these out and point out, in this particular case, why some of these just don't make any sense. So I'm going to start with the stuff that's easiest to debunk, and that is the emoticons in the Bible. There are none. There are no emoticons in the Bible. It's simply punctuation. Now, people who haven't really read the Bible that much, or people who are now reading the Bible with modern eyes, after being on the internet for so long, you see things like this as an emoticon. And technically it is an emoticon, but it's also punctuation. This is a properly punctuated sentence. I'm not trying to be an a-hole. That's what this is. Now, some of the other stuff I could see how it could be, kind of iffy. But this one, I'm not even sure how it got traction among anybody. But whatever. Now, the next one that I can specifically debunk is the fact or the idea that trespasses was removed from the Bible. So forgive us our trespasses as we forgive those who trespass against us. I'm going to go on record and say that was never in the Bible. At least not in the King James Bible. I was raised Catholic, and then we started going to a Baptist church later on. Forgive us our debts as we forgive our debtors, and forgive us our trespasses as we forgive those who trespass against us. That was always interchangeable. But I can tell you which one isn't in the Bible, and that is forgive us our trespasses as we forgive those who trespass against us. I know this one for a fact because when I was in school, I would always notice that when we actually read that chapter, that the prayer was different from what we say. In fact, not only was it different, it left off for the kingdom, power, and the glory are yours, now and forever. That's also not there in this chapter of Matthew. That comes out of the Catholic tradition. So that is why I know about that. So you might say, where does the trespasses thing come from? Well, that comes from the Anglican book of Common Prayer. But with all that being said, here's the one that freaks everyone out. Isaiah 65, verse 25, the wolf and the lamb shall feed together, and the lion shall eat straw like the bullock, and the dust shall be the serpent's meat. They shall not hurt nor destroy in all my holy mountain, saith the Lord. Now, many of you may not see what's wrong with that? As a matter of fact, it just sounds like the average, verse. Except to a lot of people, including myself, that should be the lion and the lamb shall feed together. Now, the reason this freaks everyone out is because the majority of people remember lion and lamb. Lion and lamb, not wolf and lamb. And again, that would include myself. I remember lion and lamb. But here it says wolf. And on top of that, there is very little, if any, actual pop culture references to wolf and lamb. In fact, if you Google wolf and lamb, you'll find Aesop's fairy tales, but nothing about the Bible, at least nothing immediately. There's a few modern day references of paintings and things to the wolf and lamb, but the majority of references are still lion and lamb. The only old school reference that I can find, that means like older painting, is Peaceable Kingdom by Edward Hicks from the 1800s. And there you have the wolf and the lamb just kind of chilling out together doing their thing. I ain't so sure about that wolf because he still look like he on some shady stuff, but you get the picture. The lion is over here hanging out with the bull. And this image is said to be based on that same passage. Another weird one that tends to freak people out, the wineskins issue. Bottles or wineskin. There's actually a video about this on YouTube that I can link to, but the issue is here it states, "And no man putteth new wine into old bottles, else the new wine doth burst the bottles." And here we have our problem, the word bottle. Now, the truth about this is that the word bottles was in the Bible before wineskins, because wineskins actually comes from the Schofield Bible, which technically is a King James Bible. It's a version of the King James Bible, but it's not the King James Bible. It's not the original version of the King James Bible. So bottles is actually in the Bible, and wineskins comes from the Schofield Bible. But the King James Version Dictionary does say that a bottle can be made from leather, i.e. a wineskin. Now, here's another one that people seem to be shocked by. Jesus said unto him, "I am the way, the truth, and the life." Keep that in mind. Way, the truth, and the life. Not light. Now, I noticed this myself, that I always thought it was, "I am the way, the truth, and the light." And there was one day when I remember looking at that and going, wait a minute, that's supposed to be light. And I just kind of blew it off as, well, maybe I just got it wrong and, whatever. The issue I have here is that all these so-called changes that are supposed to be happening are not changing the actual context of the scripture, are not changing the actual context of the statement. The context is the last part of it. No man cometh to the Father but by me. That's the main point of that. So whether that says light or life, there's no change. So if there were an evil force that was changing these things in the Bible, it seems to me that it would be changing things like that, specifically things like that. But it's not. It's just letting that stay right there, and it's making little changes like life to light. Now, here's one I'm going to give them, because along with the way, the truth, and the life, this one I got to say I'm iffy on. I've always read, "Judge not, lest ye be judged." That's what I read. And that's what I've even always heard. This is very new to me. I have never heard this phrased this way, though I know that's what it meant. I've never heard it phrased this way, and I've never read it this way. It's always been "Judge not, lest ye be judged," and that's what I'm going with because I'm petty. Now, there's another Mandela Effect that's not a Mandela Effect. It's just not even true. And it's this idea that the term Messiah has been removed from the book. But amazingly, here it is right here. Now, for those KJV lovers out there, you might say, well, Nathyn, that's an NIV Bible. You know what the Messiah is called in the KJV Bible? Christ. Know what Christ means? It means anointed. You know what Messiah means? It means anointed. Yeah, okay, so we're gonna move away from that one. Now, I'll be honest with you guys. I've read the Bible multiple times. I've never read the scripture. I don't know what this is, okay? But it reads, his breasts are full of milk and his bones are moistened with marrow. Okay, I'm going to go with, hey, it's the Bible. There's a lot of allegory in the Bible. From that standpoint, it makes sense. The problem is that this guy, Bill Bean, says it should read this way. His body is well fed and his bones are moistened with marrow. One of those things makes more sense technically, but I can't vouch for either of them. But what I can vouch for is this one. But when you shall hear of wars and commotions, be not terrified, for these things must come to pass, but the end is not by and by. Wait, what? Huh? What is that? That's supposed to say wars and rumors of war. And for this, no bullcrap, I actually went back to my old King James Bible, one of those old Bibles, and this thing is like almost 20, possibly 30 years old. Okay, this is how old this Bible is. And open up to Luke 21:9, and it actually says, but when ye shall hear of wars and commotions, be not terrified, for these things must come to pass, but the end is not by and by. Now, that's what it says in this 30-year-old Bible. And I've never heard that before. Now, here's something that's going to freak you out. And you shall hear of wars and rumors of war. See that ye be not troubled. All these things must come to pass, but the end is not yet. Keep in mind, I just read that to you from Bible Hub's version of the King James Bible. Their New King James and the Christian Standard Bible all have the same verse or very close to the same verse. Bible Gateway and my 30-year-old Bible have a completely different phrasing that many of us do not remember. You guys take it easy. Nathyn Brendan Masters. Hasta.
Don't look back, we're here to stay. A life we knew would come one day. And this is it, the borderline to where the future leaves us behind. The fire will burn and never die, looking through the eyes of a brand new life. The soldiers fight.